Good evening. We're going to do chapter 1 in advertising and IMC today. Let's go to slide number 2, chapter overview. We'll be introducing the advertising and distinguishing it from other forms of marketing communication, stresses the importance of IMC to relationship marketing. Creating relationships is very, very important in today's day and age, and at any time, but especially in today's day and age where there's so much competition. Chapter objectives, slide number 3, define integrated marketing communication, clarify what advertising is and distinguish it from other forms of marketing communications, explain the importance of relationship marketing, define the human communication process and demonstrate its usefulness in understanding how advertising communicates. Define marketing and identify the 4 elements of marketing strategy. Illustrate advertising's role in marketing strategy. Identify important categories under promotion, the communication element of strategy. Go on to slide 5, integrated marketing communication. Basically, when a company coordinates and integrates messages from a variety of sources about its products or brands, it practices integrated marketing communication. IMC helps companies adopt a consumer-centric, meaning a consumer-focused perspective in creating brand images, and IMC helps companies to initiate, develop, and nurture relationships with customers. Also, you'll pay attention, please, to the slides, the lower portion of the slides as you expand them. If you're not in the slide viewer, but in the regular, just watching the slides, but you're not in complete show mode, you could actually look at the instructor notes and print it as such. Just read the instructor notes for that slide, slide number 5. Integrated marketing communication, IMC, occurs when a company coordinates messages about its products or brands. So, magazine ad for a new food processor doesn't stand on its own. Today, it might be combined with TV commercials on daytime TV, a discount coupon sent in the mail, an Instagram, something on Facebook, etc. So, using different tools to market the same thing in different ways and reaching different audiences. These tools promote the product but are more than advertising. They are integrated methods to communicate product information to consumers. It's hardwired. It's not a standalone thing. On the side, it's incorporated in the entire marketing plan. IMC enables a company to adopt a more consumer-centric perspective when creating brand images and to develop relationships with customers. Advertising on its own cannot build relationship with customers. IMC is what it tries to do that. In today's marketing environment, nothing is more important than understanding and effectively communicating with consumers. Slide number 6, the definition of advertising is a paid, mediated form of communication from an identifiable source designed to persuade the received to take some action now or in the future to buy. For example, structured form of communication directed to groups, paid for by sponsors. Usually persuasive. It's about products or services, identified sponsors, transmitted through a communication medium. And just to look at the bottom, we're exposed to advertising every day. It's inescapable in our society, but what is it? First, it's a form of communication, first and foremost, and with a particular mission. It is intended to reach groups of people. It's not targeted to one individual. The most common target audience is the consumer. Producing and distributing advertising costs money. These costs are paid by the sponsors, people who are responsible for the message. Unlike many other forms of communication, advertising seeks to persuade the audience, perhaps to buy something or take some sort of action. Most advertising emphasizes products, which in this book covers goods, services, and ideas. Sponsors are identified in the ads. For example, the people that are paying for the ad. This is brought to you by X, Y, and Z. Okay. Let's move on. Slide number 7, relationship marketing, creating, maintaining, and enhancing long-term relationships with stakeholders. Those are people that are affected and impacted by the organization that result in exchange of mutual value. Moving on to slide 8, relationship marketing. Company that focuses on relationship marketing has 3 key goals: to identify, satisfy, retain, and maximize the value of profitable customers, to manage customer company contacts to ensure their effectiveness, and to gather useful data that enables a company to develop a real understanding of customers. And that I just read from, again, the bottom, the instructor notes. Slide number 9, importance of relationships. Again, reading from the lower portion of the instructor notes. To succeed, to be profitable, companies focus on managing the loyalty of their existing customers. Why? Losing a customer means a reduction in profit. A loyal customer provides a company with lifetime customer value, the revenue stream. If a customer has a bad experience at Kmart and stops shopping there, the company loses all the profit they would have earned from the customer's future purchases at the store. And they have friends, and those friends have friends. So it has a lasting, very, very negative impact. Acquiring new customers costs a company money. It's 5 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to retain an existing customer by honoring that relationship with them. So it's cheaper to maintain your relationship with an already extant customer than to forge a new one. Loyal customers offer added value. Repeat customers will support a company even in poor economic conditions because they have a sense of allegiance. They are also less resistant to marketing effort. Competitors who, remember, are paying for a lot of money to try to acquire those customers. Keep that in mind as well. Slide number 10, relationship levels. There's a transactional level, which is a very basic one. I sell you something and you give me the product. I sell you something and you give me money for it. Reactive relationship, the company sells the product and encourages customers to contact them if they have a problem. In accountable relationships, the company goes a step further by following up with a customer who makes a purchase. They might ask the customer if they're satisfied and if there's any sort of suggestions that they may make. And that will be, for example, when you lease a car, many times you'll get a phone call. I didn't get it from Chrysler because whatever. But when I leased a Honda and or a Toyota, I got phone calls from them asking how I feel and how I like the product. In proactive relationships, the company contacts customers with new information unrelated to the specific purchase. Hey, this is Bob from Honda, just letting you know we came up with this new service, etc. A partnership is the deepest relationship. The company works with customers and stakeholders on an ongoing basis to discover ways to deliver better value. And that's what that does. Slide number 11 talks about different types of relationships. You could look at the number of customers. There's many, few, and there's high profit margins, medium and low, and it gives you the proper relationship according to the number of customers versus profit margins. You could look at that yourself. Again, that's slide number 11. Slide 12, IMC tactics. We have mass media, target messages, consumer data and expectations. In integrated marketing communications, companies coordinate and integrate messages about their products from a variety of sources. IMC strives to reinforce core ideas about who a company is and the products it offers. Clearly, this will be more effective in building and managing relationships than transactional marketing. If you look at a mass media, less advertising relative to other promotional media, target messages, heavier reliance on targeted messaging. For example, the newest wave is on your smartphone. You have messages sent directly there. When you look up something on Google, you'll have suggestions. When you watch something on YouTube, you'll have suggestions of things to watch. When you buy things from Amazon, people like you bought this, etc. Consumer data, increased use of consumer data to be able to better focus on your customer expectations, change expectations for marketing communication suppliers. So there's less emphasis now on traditional advertising and more focus on the promotional activities, more targeted promotional messages that reach smaller market segments. So much of our world today is data-driven, so to create and build relationships with customers, you have to understand who they are and the data about them. And there's a shift in expectation for suppliers of marketing communication compared to the transactional model. So there's a bigger shift towards marketing communication than to transactional, which is the simplest way which is the most basic form of relationship. Now we go to slide number 13, effects on customer view. IMC helps company manage customer perceptions, and in that you have financials, the news about the company, word of mouth, the web presence, expert opinions about the product or service, and there's gossip, and of course the personality of the CEO, which drives it. Company. Now, 4 sources of brand messaging: planned messages, advertising, publicly released, low impact. The reason it has low impact because, of course, what else are they going to say? Product message, the product, the price, the packaging has a great impact. Service message, employee interactions, positive or negative. You went to a restaurant, you had a great experience, you had a negative experience. You went to Macy's, you had a great experience, or you had a bad experience with the salespeople. And unplanned messages, news stories, rumors, competitors' remarks, disasters. Company has limited influence and many times has to do damage control if it's something negative. Slide 15, dimensions of IMC, the integration triangle. So Duncan and Morarity's integration triangle illustrates How perceptions are created from these various brand messages. And remember, perception is your reality. Planned messages are say messages, what companies say about themselves. Product and service messages are do messages, a call to action representing what a company does and calling you to action to be aware of that and to take some sort of action. And unplanned messages are confirm messages because others confirm or don't confirm what the company says and does. So you either buy the message or you don't buy the message. Constructive integration happens when a company does what it says it will do and others confirm this. So you need to have that as well. We go to slide number 16. Human communication process. Okay, communication among humans and in other relationships is a complex process. It starts out with a source, the party who formulates an idea and wants to communicate it. I want to have a party, for example, somebody says. The idea is encoded as a message. For example, he says, I'm having a cookout on Saturday at 4 p.m. The message is sent through a channel. For example, for the party, it might be a text or a phone call or an evite. The receiver gets the message and decodes it. Party? Great, but this Saturday or next Saturday? Because it didn't say that in the original message, so the person decoding the message is not clear on the matter. The receiver then provides feedback to the source. I'd love to come, but which Saturday is it? Is it the 12th or the 19th? All communication is also subject to noise. The competition from other messages sent at the same time. You open your phone and you've seen tons of WhatsApp messages or regular messages and you don't know where to start first. Perhaps a party invite got buried in a person's full email box or he missed it on his WhatsApps. Slide 17, integrative communication model. And again, I'm reading from the bottom of the slides. In the interactive communication model, both the source and the receiver serve as an encoder and a decoder of a message in an ongoing process. This model illustrates companies' relationships with their customers today. Marketers no longer dominate the exchange of messages. They no longer simply talk to customers. Companies are in conversation, a give and take with customers, especially through social media. And companies send messages to customers. Customers send messages back to the company and to other customers as well. Moving on to slide 18. There's a certain communication model. We'll explain the slide. We'll open it up and you'll see that there's the source, the message, and the receiver. You have a sponsor, the author of that message, and there's a persona, a person either real or perceived. And within the text of the advertisement, it could either have an autobiography style, a narrative, or a drama. And then you have your implied customers. You have responsorial consumers and your actual consumers, which we'll talk about shortly. Sponsor, in the next slide, number 19, legally responsible, has a message. And he's legally responsible because if he or she misrepresents, they can get into trouble for that. Author, copywriter, the person writing, art director, creative group, and they are invisible to the audience. Most people don't know who wrote the ad. Persona is within the text, lends voice or tone to the ad. With the Geico Gecko, for example, real or imaginary spokespeople. Next slide, communication message dimensions. Slide number 20, autobiography. The example will be, I tell a story about myself to you, the imaginary audience. Narrative, a third person persona tells a story about others to an imagined audience. And drama, characters act in front of imagined empathetic audience. Receiver dimensions, implied consumers. Every ad or commercial assumes an audience of ideal consumers. Sponsorial consumers, decision makers at the organization that sponsors it, and they decide the ad will run or not. So people on top. And actual consumers, people in the real world who compromise the target audience of people who actually consume the product. Feedback and interactivity, you get that from redeem coupons. You'll know how many people are interested in your marketing campaign. Phone inquiries are less effective because people don't like speaking to people on the phone. Just try to get a call from a telemarketer in the middle of supper. Let's see how you react. Visits to the website, clicks, how long were they on a specific area. Survey responses, increased sales, and visits to a store. This lets sender know if a message was received, understood, and sender can tell when communication breaks down. Slide 23, the marketing dimension, business functional divisions, meaning departmentally, operations, finance administration, and marketing, defines advertising's role in business. Only marketing has revenue generation as its primary role in any organization. So marketing, defined in slide 24, is the process of planning and executing concepts, pricing, distribution, and promotion of ideas, goods, and services to create exchanges that satisfy the perceived needs, wants, and objectives of an individual and organizations. The advertising classification, slide 25. Your target audience, your geographic area, your medium, the pathway which you get through, and the purpose of your message. Slide 26. Here's an ad from the Red Cross. Consumer markets, retail and public service, business, industries, market, trades, professions, and agriculture. Everyone is involved. Marketing, the 4 Ps, slide 27. Product are the categories of goods or services. Price is the strategies for competitive pricing. Place, distribution, and geography and promotion communication channels. Slide 28 is marketing communications. It is comprised of collateral materials which you give out as part of the advertising, your little tchotchke, so to speak, your personnel selling, your public relations, your sales promo, and your product advertising. Marketing IMC, slide 29, new media proliferation, more competition, there's higher costs. It's less efficient now. There's cynical untrust, sophisticated customers who can see through things. We are all educated, we're all very sophisticated. There's gaps between promise and delivery, which always causes an outrage, and need for more relationship building. So now there's a movement to establish consistency among agencies and departments. So as mentioned, the marketing IMC, it is comprised of collateral materials, personal selling, public relations, sales promo, and product advertising. That's it, folks. Thank you so much for joining, and have a good evening.